but what was kind of the biggest gap that you saw from where it was
Um,
missing the mark for you?
that I was seeing it and using it as more of a tool than a partner. I was using it to help me learn things, which of course is valuable,
Yeah.
but I wasn't learning how to action it from there. So that was one of the big shifts is not just using it for helping me understand things or as a research partner or whatever, but like actually using AI to accomplish things, complete things. So like before working with you and Ryan, like I hadn't used AI to develop a website or anything like that. And after working with you all, like I've developed multiple websites and actually, deployed one for a client not too long ago for his business. And just like that's something that 6 months ago I never would have even conceptually thought that I could do. But just like understanding and seeing Ryan do it, seeing him do it like kind of live on some of those calls
Yeah.
was helpful because then I can just kind of go back and replicate that process. But he was the first person who introduced me to vibe coding and understanding like how that can just transform what I was thinking into something that's actually tangible. So that was another really, really big shift.
Yeah. You're gonna love sort of the way we're vibe coding now because we are developing out sort of our way of vibe coding. And so the way our
Okay.
team does it is very consistent throughout the way that we look at the way we vibe code, right? And the way we iterate through it. And so would you say that was sort of John, your aha moment was like, holy crap, I can actually build stuff with this. Like this isn't just
100%.
like I just can use this to answer my emails, or I can use it to, like,
Yeah.
look stuff up or, like, whatever, or I can actually build stuff with this.
I think it was not only that I could build stuff, but I could build quality stuff.
Yeah,
That I could build stuff that was dynamic and not just static. That I could build stuff that impressed people who are more techie than I am.
yeah,
Like that was a big win for sure. And that was one of the big ahas with that really opened up like more of the possibilities of what it could do. And I think the other aha was in some of the earlier conversations, just how I think I connected with what you and Ryan had said about, AI being part of what an organization needs, but it also needs to be thinking about it as the people tool and the people and the leadership aspect, which obviously speaks to what it is that I do and love. But connecting those dots also was really
right.
huge. That was another big aha moment.
Yeah, I love that. I love, the idea that those things have to actually culturally speak to each other, right? Like, it can't
Right.
that level of that can't be left out because then you run into those same problems of, "I don't trust this. This is like, why would I do something because this could potentially take my job?" Because there's that misunderstanding. Like you said, it's a tool versus a partner where we look at AI when we're using agentic stuff, we're like, This is an employee. We have to train this person. We have to, even though it's not a person, we treat it as if, right? We have
Hmm.
to train it. We have to give it resources. It's only as good as the resources we provide it, just like a human would be, just like anything
Absolutely.
else. And this isn't to replace a human, it's to have this the resources of this co-pilot work alongside me to make things easier and more effective and efficient, right, in the process.
Right.
So, yeah, and what would you say kind of after that point, what do you think happens when a team or an organization gets this right? Like, what do you think happens or what does that look like for them?
So there's two lanes that I see it. One lane is the output benefits of using AI. So, their work will be more streamlined, their work will be more focused, their work will be more effective. The company should benefit from those efficiencies and that increase in effectiveness. So there should be a productivity increase. The other part of it is there'll be, and again, this is kind of speaking to my leadership DNA, there'll be less threat, the less feeling of threat because of AI. There's less feeling of a threat of Like you're on my team, but you're doing things that I don't understand. And so instead of being scared or intimidated by it or try to take credit for it and then, fall on my face when I have to explain something about it, as a leader now that I understand that this is a benefit to us as an organization. So I don't have to worry about shielding it. I can
Right.
amplify the work of the person who really understands it. And that's how we can leverage it, across the organization. Like that's one of the biggest things that the biggest ways that I think companies can look at AI differently instead of looking at it as just a tool and or the leaders looking at it as I don't understand it, it intimidates me. So I'm not going to really give the platforms for people to leverage it. It allows for clarity and confidence for leaders and it allows for increased productivity, effectiveness, and efficiency for teams in the organization.
Yeah, and what you said about leadership is really interesting because I think leadership sometimes are in charge of facilitating, right? Some of
Mhm.
this. And if you have leadership who gets comfortable or gets stagnant or doesn't necessarily, they don't have that built-in curiosity to them that has that innate ability to want to like discover new ways of doing things or new resources to do things because it takes time or it takes extra energy and maybe they're burned out or maybe there's a whole slew of things that are going on, but somehow, as leadership, what we sometimes have to realize is we have to slow down to speed up. And
Abs
if we are missing these opportunities because we are standing in our own ways, then we need to sometimes maybe delegate that out or
Mhm.
reevaluate what our priorities are and say, you know what, maybe there's something that can take some of this stress off my plate and I need to, experiment with or look at other avenues to make myself better. But some leaders stand in their own way in that regard. And then sometimes you're an imposter syndrome
Yeah,
expert. I mean, some of that gets in there too. I don't want somebody to know more than
absolutely.
I do. And
Yeah.
so as leaders, if we have leaders that are standing in the way of innovation, we may have the wrong leaders in
Right.
place,
Right.
you know?
And and for a company to be able to realize that, like that would be a massive awareness, a massive increase in awareness
Yep.
that a company will have. Like maybe the leader that we have, and maybe it's not that the leader needs to leave the organization because like
No,
we
not at
know
all. No, no,
that
no. Yeah.
replacement's a whole lot more expensive than retention, but it's maybe we need to reshift
Structure.
or we restructure. We should readjust the what that leader is focusing on, right?
Right.
Maybe we see someone who we didn't necessarily see as a leader previously, but like they really get this AI stuff. They really get what the future of work looks like. They really get what opportunities may be created. So maybe we don't make the mistake that companies make all the time, which is promoting performers and expecting them to be leaders. Maybe we invest in the people skills of that person
Yes.
to develop them as a leader
Right.
because they've already got the technical skills that they're far outpacing everyone else. So now
Right.
let's give them the other piece. So when the opportunity presents or when we create an opportunity, then they're prepared to not only expand what they're doing from a technological standpoint, but they're also able to step in that space from a people standpoint where they're going to be an effective leader. So it
Exactly.
really it opens up so many different things. But part of our conversation earlier, I think that's also where HR is in a holding pattern
Yep.
because like that's it's not something that they've done before. So
Yeah.
there's so
Well, and
many new things. They're probably just confused and intimidated a little bit.
sure. And a lot of times they wait and ask for that permission, right? Instead of
Hmm.
and that's another thing I've begged HR people to do over the years. Like depending on your organization and how tightly they run that ship or how controlling it can be, because I've worked for controlling organizations, right? Where they're like,
Right.
you better ask before you move an inch. And
Right.
those are not my type of places, so I don't work in corporate environments anymore, but it's
Yeah.
like, within reason, HR a lot of times waits and waits and waits and waits and waits until they're in front of a CEO or in front of a CFO or in
Mhm.
front of somebody to ask for permission for things. And I'll be sitting there like, this is a common sense thing that should be within your scope of what you're doing. And if it's not
Right.
something in your, like, if you feel it's not, then that should give you pause for concern about
Mhm.
what your position in within that organization is allowing you to do for your employees as an HR person.
Right.
And
Right.
so it goes back to opportunity, and our people are usually only as good as the resources that we provide them, right?
Mhm. Yep.
People are not typically the majority of people are not going to go out of their way when they're off the clock to seek out resources to better themselves because again, we have burnout, we have all of these things, we have lives, we have this type of stuff. And so
Right.
if we want employees to be satisfied, we want to retain them, we want them to be key A players, we within our organizations have to invest in them. And this is really
Absolutely.
what we're talking about here, right?
Right. Yeah. And it's investing in them in a couple of different areas. Like, you're obviously you're investing in their professional growth, their professional development by trying to meet things where they're going instead of where they've been.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
it's I've got a course that I'm doing with some nonprofit leaders in August, and that's a big part of how we're developing the course is
Yeah.
like how do we get to where the ball is going, right? Wayne Gretzky, famously said
Yep.
that was his advantage. Like he skated to where he thought the puck was going to be, rather than
Exactly.
chasing the puck. Like that's a
Yes.
big difference, you know. Like
Yep.
that's how you get ahead of these things. That's how you
Right.
stay in a place where you're you're making decisions and you're making policy decisions, you're making, organizational decisions based on where things are going instead
Yeah.
of the way that you did it in 2022, which is it's crazy to think that 2 or 3 years ago, just how dramatically different things are and also
I know.
how rapidly things are changing. Like I read an article this weekend that I think it was somebody from Google's AI team was saying that virtually all white collar tasks will be completed by AI within 18 months.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy, but also not. Like I'd be really, really concerned if I was in the accounting field or if I was a paralegal or if I was something that is heavily data and process driven or
Well,
heavily research driven without content. Like I'd be really concerned if I was in those roles and didn't understand how to use AI to make
yeah,
myself more
that's what I
valuable in
was
those
gonna say.
roles. Cause
Yeah.
that's the part. Yeah.
That's the part is how do I leverage this tool, right?
Mhm.
How do I
Yep.
leverage this to give myself superpowers?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Mhm.
Okay, I can either let this thing eat me alive or I can be the bear and eat this thing
Right.
myself, right? So and
Yeah.
like somehow absorb its powers. Like I don't know, but
Mhm.
that's what happens is like we have to completely change the way we think about the future of work, which is
Yeah.
the real big conversation, right? That's the
Yeah.
real crux of the thing is like, how do we really need a 40-hour work week? I mean, then we start really getting into the things that scare the shit out of corporate America, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Right.
and then, I mean, if your advice to this, if you're a leader, I mean, I think we're kind of talking about this. If you're on the fence about this, like, what's your advice? Because I know what my advice always is, but what's your advice if you're on the fence about this?
Jump off the fence
Pick
because
a
you're going to get
side
left
of the
behind if you
fence.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pick a side. Pick a side. One way or the other. If you're waiting, then it's not even like every day that like every minute that you wait, you're falling months behind.
Yeah.
Like I honestly believe that. And it's not just from yeah, obviously from a standpoint, from an HR leader standpoint, from an organizational leader standpoint, but like anything that you anything that you do that's repetitive, that's process driven, that's data or research like all of those things. If you're not looking at how you can do those things differently going forward, again, you're already falling behind. And
Right.
that would worry me more than anything AI. Like the things
Yeah.
that are within my control are the things that I would be more worried about if I wasn't proactively trying to move those things. Because I can't
Right.
control what the next AI tool is going to be. I can't control what the next process. And that was one of the big things that that Ryan said early on that I connected with is like if you're chasing the tools that are out there, if you're trying to stay on top of or trying to learn the current tool and thinking that you're good, you're already way behind. Because by
Yeah.
the time you're learning that tool, there are things that have already happened that are already happening, and you're still stretching in the locker room. you know,
Exactly.
and the game
Yeah.
is
It's
well into the second quarter.
exactly. We're almost to halftime and you're still in in the locker room warming up, taking an ice bath
Yeah.
or whatever the hell you're doing in there. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely insane to think that people are just kind of like, and I mean, some of these businesses, depending on industry, will totally survive without AI. Like, there's no question.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to your point, repetitive processes, repetitive tasks, what people are afraid of is that if I automate these things, I'm not going to have anything to do anymore. I don't know a single HR person. I think I shared this with you. Every HR person I have ever known in my entire life, you walk into their office and it looks like a nuclear bomb has gone off in their office.
Right.
Okay. Most of them are still running on digital or on
Hmm.
paper, excuse me.
Yep.
Most of them are still like God only knows what are in those bankers boxes that are piled up to the ceiling in their offices. You know what I'm talking about. They all look the same.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it's like, why are you doing this to yourself? You're
Right.
gonna tell me that automating some of these tasks is going to make you not have work? You have not
Hmm.
seen the carpet in your office in 3 years. Pardon you. Like, no, you'll have work to do, trust me. This is
Uh-huh.
a much bigger overhaul than you think it is. Trust me, it's going
Right.
to create you a lot of work, but the processes that you can repeat and automate and create skills for and tools for within like why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to find other things to do, trust me. Like I don't know, maybe like upskilling your employees,
Hmm.
you know?
Right. I mean, God
So,
forbid you do that rather
yeah,
than being
God
in
forbid.
firefighter mode.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then last question, I guess, is what would be like your advice or experience? Like, if someone was going to start working with Ryan, what would you say to those people that wanted to start a relationship or work with him on the AI front?
I would say be ready because Ryan is just not only a deep well of knowledge, but he also doesn't gatekeep. And a lot of people who have his level of knowledge, that's one of the things that impressed me a lot when we started getting on calls with him. A lot of people with that level of knowledge will give you theory and high level examples and not show you what's going on behind the curtain.
Right.
And the fact that Ryan has that knowledge, has that information, and also has the spirit not to gatekeep that information and to share it willingly, and to you know there were so many times on the calls where he just went where we needed to go rather than whatever maybe he had pre-planned. Like that's not something that's common in that space. So yeah, anybody who's looking to work with Ryan, just be ready, be curious, but you're not going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get so many things that are valuable that it's going to be great use of the time.
Yeah. I always tell people if you come into one of our webinars or one of our masterminds or something like if you want to walk away with one or two pieces of knowledge, that's a win because we
Hmm.
literally will give you like the sun, the moon, and the stars. And it's a lot. But yes, I mean, again, people are only as good as the resources they're given. And
That's
so
right.
you
Yep.
can't just, our philosophy is like, this is free knowledge. And it took us months to figure some of this stuff out. So why would we make other people wait months to figure some of this stuff out when it's like,
Right.
it's free knowledge, but like really you just have to kind of know how to tinker with it. But that is a true testament to Ryan's teaching. He does not hold
Hmm.
anything back because he just believes in teaching. He believes in giving that knowledge back to people because like the more people we have creating futures for themselves at this point, I mean, look at where we're at right now. the world is not creating futures for us. So we have to
No.
kind of take that into our own hands and be creators of our own destiny at this point. So the more
Yeah.
people we can get on that get on the bus, well, plug for the book,
Right.
you know, we try to do that. So yeah.
Yeah.
The analogy that comes to mind is like that there's all the information that's out there, and we're all like standing outside the arena, like trying to get in to learn everything.
Yeah.
And Ryan's got like a side door open that he's going to allow us backstage, and he's like, come on, and he's like holding
Yeah.
the door open.
Like all age
And
access. Hello.
yeah, like if you want to come in, like I'm going to let you come in, and
Yeah.
I'm going to give you I'm going to give you what the presentation is going to be, but or you can stand in line and
Right.
and wait outside. It's your
Yeah.
call.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Well, my friend, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate
Of
it.
course.
And I'll be in touch. I'm going to send you a link to the book so you can download
Okay.
it, and then you don't have to pay for it. And then, yeah, let's touch base in the next like week or so, and I'll let you know what's going on with this thing as soon as I meet with these two guys and figure out what we're doing here. So I just got to get all the landing pages and stuff ready for it, get the sign up sent out, and then yeah, we'll be in touch. So let me know how it's going, and
Okay,
we'll chat in the next little bit here.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see you.
you too, Emily. Thanks so much
Awesome.
for taking the
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah. Well, we'll chat
Well,
soon.
yes, for sure. Tell Ryan I
Awesome.
said hello.
I will definitely. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. You too. Take
Thanks.
care.
Bye.
All right. Bye bye.